Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 11 of the 9 Frames podcast. It is Wednesday, August 16th. I'm one half of your host, Bill Whalen.
And I'm Mike Whalen.
And you can find us on Spotify, folks, at 9 Frames. You can catch us on YouTube at 9 Frames Podcast. X, we're on there at 9 Frames Pod. And you can catch us on playergm.com. We're going to get into the baseball now. Honestly, this one was just a happy story to see over the weekend and over the week, I guess. MLB attendance is up a jarring 9.3% over the last year.
I'm pretty sure we were talking about this on one of the earlier episodes of this pod.
Yeah, we gave credit that they had like a really booming Tuesday.
Now it's just whole...
Yeah, now this is just, now that the statistics are coming out on the year, like almost 10% on the year. That's awesome for the sport.
Yeah, really great to see for a sport that has been kind of, people have given it this weird, it's dying
Yeah, most
label.
definitely not anymore.
No way.
Maybe a credit to these rule changes and schedule changes and the new wild card format, who knows, but it's definitely raised right there.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess their plan worked.
It definitely did.
The casuals are finding the sport to be more interesting as the rules change.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree, too. It's
Yeah.
a pretty interesting year.
I've learned to agree with most of the rule changes.
For sure. We'll get into the actual games that occurred over the last couple days. Well, first off, Texas signed former All-Star Josh Harrison to the minors.
Nice little move.
Yeah, they signed him to a minor league deal, and they sent him to AAA Round Rock Express. I mean, it's definitely depth for a team that an injury could happen at any time.
Yeah, and he plays everywhere.
Yeah, so Josh Harrison was released by the Phillies earlier for that Lorenzen spot.
Surprising that
Yeah.
he would be the one.
It was for the Lorenzen spot, and obviously that's panned out for them, so hard to say it's a bad move for either team, but this could really help out Texas down the line if they need a middle infielder.
Maybe the Phillies got rid of him due to, like, financial...
Could be. I think they still would have had to pay him because they released him, right?
Yeah,
But,
I don't know why.
But Texas themselves continue to roll, having a phenomenal year right now. They played L.A. In the first 2 games of a 3-game set starting this Monday. They won 12-0 on Monday. God, man. Scherzer.
I saw it was the 23rd time that the Rangers have scored double digits this year.
Yeah. There's
Unreal.
only really one team doing it better, and we'll talk about them in a bit. Scherzer has 7 shutout innings in that game. Gives up 1 hit all game, 1 walk, 11 Ks, really at his peak form.
Vintage Mac.
Yeah, I mean, you love to see it. He's 12-4 on the year now with a 3.67. So
He's bringing it down.
the numbers are looking impressive. He was at a 4.04 when he joined, maybe a 4.01 when he joined Texas.
It was over a 4.
And he gets down to a 3.67. So him and Verlander are looking good right now.
I mean, if Max can get down to like a 3.4-ish, like that's a good year for a 39-year-old.
Yeah, definitely. And I thought it was impressive too. Martin Perez came out and had 2 shutout innings out of the pen to end that game.
Wow.
He didn't give up a hit in his too, so that was the only hit of the game for LA was against Max. Pretty brutal game.
I used to watch the Rangers a lot. I can't even really imagine Martin Perez coming out of the bullpen.
Pretty wild. That goes to show how much pitching depth that team has this year.
Yeah, Scherzer and Montgomery. And
And
that's without Eovaldi being back.
Very true.
Who
And
gets pushed
DeGrom's out as well.
Who gets pushed out when Eovaldi comes back, though?
That'll be an interesting look.
If Perez is already in the bullpen.
Yeah, that'll definitely be an interesting look. We know it's not Max, though.
It can't be Montgomery. They just traded for him.
Shouldn't be, yeah.
Eovaldi's their 3. It'd probably be...
Dane Dunning? Can't be Dane
He's been
Dunning.
good.
Yeah.
He's been really good.
It can't be. I don't know, man. That's going to be an interesting call, actually.
It's a good problem to have.
Keeping it with that series, though, Texas wins the second one. Pretty straightforward win in that one because it was 7-3, but that doesn't really tell the whole story. There was 2 runs out of those 3 in the 9th inning for the Angels. So this game was 7-1 for the majority of it.
Yeah, they just kind of dominated again.
Yeah, definitely pretty rough for LA. That puts LA 8 games out of the wild card and 3-7 in their last 10.
Yeah, they probably should have sold.
Yeah, you think they definitely should have, especially if they could have got a big package for Ohtani, because this doesn't look like a team that Ohtani's going to want to come back to.
No, definitely not. And I think what we were saying is their guys needed to come back quick, like Trout and Rendon, and they just simply haven't come back yet. And
Definitely disappointing to see for the Halos.
they're just running out of juice.
Yeah, we'll go over to an interleague series that we said was going to be pretty big. It's going to be a pretty big test for the Yankees, because they're coming up against the best team in baseball, the Atlanta Braves.
Easily.
Yep. So they get absolutely cooked on Monday, 11-6 by the Braves, and it's tough to see, man. We said that they needed to step up in the series and kind of prove that they were still contenders.
They have not.
No. There's a quality start from Fried in that game. He goes 6, giving up 2. And then the second game is even uglier. It's a 5-0 loss. They have 1 hit all game. Severino, which, I mean, got to be having the worst year a starting pitcher's having this year.
Like I said before, he said that he feels like the worst, and I mean, dude, he's kind of pitching like it.
It's hard not to feel for a guy like that. He goes 4 innings, gives up 5 hits, 2 walks, 5 runs. Only 3 of them are earned because 2 Yankee errors. 1 of them is his.
Yeah, so
He gives up 2 home runs in that game also.
I understand that becomes an unearned run, but I feel like if the pitcher's the one making the error, it should still be earned.
Yeah, kind of Alefa made an error as well, so I'm not sure exactly how the unearned came off the books. But,
Yeah, I didn't see the whole
Either
inning.
way, it's pretty rough. He's at a 2.8 record with a 7.98 ERA, man.
Ugh, that's just awful, man.
Really rough to see.
Being around an 8 in mid-August, ugh.
It's ugly. Atlanta and the Yankees are going to wrap up that 3-game set. The Yankees really got to try to take one tonight, but they still don't have a pitcher announced. So
Is Severino a free agent this year?
He is. He is under strike. He's currently in his club option.
Damn.
Yeah, they exercised the club option in the offseason.
I think somebody will take a chance on him, but, like, dude, that's one of the worst career, contract years I've ever seen.
I wouldn't be shocked at all if you see Severino signs to a minor league deal in the later stages of the offseason, which is going to be kind of rough for him.
Yeah, I mean, but at this point, if you got an 80 ERA, you take what you get.
Yeah, and the Yankees are at 500 right now. They are 60-60. We have not seen them 500 this late in the season since, 2004?
Since Derek Jeter was a rookie.
Oh, it was even before then. Yeah,
Yeah.
how a long time ago, man.
Yeah.
They are 6.5 games back of the wild card after that.
They have not been 500 this late in the season since Derek Jeter was a rookie.
Yeah,
Think about it.
Getting pretty ugly for the Yanks and their fans.
Their fans don't really know how to react to this because they don't know what it feels like.
It's quite a meltdown to see. I mean, a lot of their fans were saying they should have sold, which was funny to see. Not a lot of things that the Yankee fans were being reasonable this year and saying they should have sold at the deadline, and they were literally right.
They should have at least done something.
Brian Cashman was just simply wrong this year.
Yep, sat on his hands.
You just have to give credit to Atlanta just before we move on from this, because after that game, Atlanta leads the MLB in batting average, home runs, RBI, total runs scored, on-base percentage, slugging, and OPS as a team.
Yeah, they're just the best.
Yeah, no, it's actually impossible to argue.
I saw something on MLB Network. It was their offense is on pace with the 1927 Murders Row Yankees. What are we talking about?
Something might be fishy going on in Atlanta, man.
Wow.
I'm not going to put any accusations out there, but it's just, how could so many guys be so good at the hardest game you could play?
It is pretty interesting to see that they're better than the 2017 Astros, who were caught cheating.
They just traded for Nicky Lopez, who was having a pretty down year.
Yeah, he started out his Braves career going 7 for 10 with a homer with a fucking 1,200 OPS or something.
Absolutely insane.
Unbelievable.
So, I mean, it's a success factory, and maybe it's something fishy. I don't know, but it's not my place to point fingers. So we're gonna have one little last highlight before we end the intro here, because this was insane.
Definitely, it was a highlight for one, but a low light for another.
First off, a very head-scratching decision. Corbin Carroll, one of the brightest young stars in the league, gets up there. We know his speed's phenomenal. He gets a 3-0 count, and he puts a bunt down. This is in Colorado.
Why are you bunting 3-0 ever?
Against the Colorado Rockies, who are, they're not the greatest pitching team, with the biggest park that you could, just absolutely ride the ball out of.
Did you see a clip of it anywhere?
I did.
Was their coach any of their coaches angry about
I'm sure this was their call.
That's
Which
really
is
dumb.
weird. It was probably a strategic call made between the coaches and Carroll to try to catch the defense off guard.
That's a really dumb and bad strategy.
So the ball ends up curving foul off the end of his bat on which was a pretty good bunt. But if I'm pronouncing this wrong, excuse me. Elehuris Montero, the first baseman for the Rockies, he's 24, a young kid.
Crazy play.
Makes a wild diving play into foul territory.
He went all out for it.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a beautiful play and a really head-scratching decision to see a player with pop and speed. I mean, he's got speed, but pop and speed in an RBI spot, bunting 3-0.
Kind of looked like Montero took exception to him bunting 3-0. He went all out to make that
most
play.
Definitely. I love when first baseman or third baseman do that on the lines.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they split the first 2 games, the Snakes do. They lose the first one and pick up the second one against Colorado, and they play the third one tonight. Snakes are looking to get hot because they play the Padres this weekend.
Keeping it in the NL, and specifically in the Diamondbacks division, the NL West, they're the first place Dodgers get set to have a huge clash with another first place team, the leader of the Central, the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, one of those weird little 2-game sets we were talking about. They did a lot of 4 games
No,
last
it's 3.
week.
It's 3.
Oh, it's a 3?
Yeah,
This is a 3-game.
Yeah, they didn't play Monday. They started yesterday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Oh, just kind of a weird
Yeah,
set. All right,
yeah,
that's a weird scheduling thing, but this is a 3-game set.
I don't know why they do that sometimes. I mean, I guess it's probably traveling based.
Yeah, I guess you pick the off day between Monday and Thursday.
So this is going to be a 3-game, like I just said, in LA. So late games for us East Coasters. The first game though, phenomenal stuff.
Yeah,
from
we were watching this one last night.
Bobby Miller last night for the Dodgers goes 6 innings, gives up 1 hit. 1 earned run, 1 walk, 4 Ks. Phenomenal quality start.
The kid's been really good since coming up. He's got phenomenal start. He's all legs and arms coming at you because he's a tall, lanky kid. I love watching him pitch.
I didn't know much about him before he came up. I thought he threw like 96, 97. I've seen him hit 101, 102.
Yeah. He's got a bit of a generic name, so I mean he went under the radar, but man, can he throw?
He throws really hard.
I think we're going to be seeing him in Dodger blue for a while.
Of course, it's another one of those guys that they call up and they're just going to be good for a while.
Definitely.
Adrian Hauser was the one that was pitching for the Brewers, the starter. He was matching Bobby Miller pretty much most of the way until he started to scuffle a little bit in the 5th and 6th inning.
Hard not to tip the cap in that performance, but yeah.
More so the 6th than the 5th. He gives up 1 in the 5th, and then the 6th is where it started to unravel. They get the Brewers as a whole give up 5 in that inning.
Right.
And the Dodgers just really don't look back.
How many did Hauser end up giving up in that game total?
It was 4 unearned and 3 earned.
Okay.
So there was errors mixed in.
He got through the 6 or no?
No, he did not.
All right, so not a quality start by Hauser, but I mean, it's clear that he kept them in the game as much as he could.
Yeah, the offense just didn't really hit much. I mean, the only other offense besides the 1 run Bobby Miller gave up was a 7th inning solo shot by Carlos Santana.
Right.
Yeah, the Dodgers end up taking it 6-2. Ryan Yarbrough, though, I wanted to mention this really quick, gets his first save of the year because he went 3 innings after Bobby Miller.
One of my favorite things in the game is a 3-inning save.
First save of his career.
Yeah, I mean, it's because this doesn't happen that often in baseball today. I mean, when you get 5 or 6 innings from a starter, you're tipping the cap. So if you get 3 from a guy out of the pen, yeah, you're feeling pretty good, man.
Absolutely. That home run for Santana, by the way, is his 16th for the Brewers.
Obviously, the acquisition that they got from the Pirates, so
I think he's been pretty good for them so far.
It seems that way. I mean, he's not been the Josh Bell, but not everybody can, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Bell's been tearing it up for Miami.
What's Game 2 looking like?
Game 2 is going to be Wade Miley is taking on one of the very greatest of all time, Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, this is a matchup of absolute veterans. These guys have been around the game for as long as most of people have been watching it these days, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, he's been doing it at such a high level for so long.
Yeah.
Game 3 is going to be Corbin Burns taking on Lance Lynn, which has become a pretty good matchup because Lynn's been shoving for the Dodgers.
We got the ace of the Brew Crew against what has been a phenomenal Lynn, obviously pitching to a 2 ERA, as we said on Monday's episode.
Yeah, been a massive pickup for a rotation that needed some stability.
That third game is going to be a real exciting one on Thursday, which is usually a smaller slate of games.
Absolutely. Now, I had a question for you. Given how the Dodgers are playing and everything, do you think it's possible for them to catch those Braves that you were just gassing up so much?
Yeah, here's the thing.
They are only 4.5 behind them for the 1 seed.
I don't. I just don't.
Okay.
The Braves are so good, man. I just said it. They're leading in every major offensive category. If you care about offense, then the Braves are the best.
Is it not kind of impressive for the Dodgers to only be 4.5 back?
It definitely is, but I mean, the Dodgers are the better. I mean, what people always think of, the bigger market, the team that's putting all of their chips on the table. The Braves are, what, $180 million team?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, the Braves, they're supposed to be the big ones.
And we penciling this in for the NLCS or what?
I do. I think it's hard to see this. Baseball is a very unpredictable sport, but dude, these two teams are so far and above better than any other team in the NL.
Yeah.
I mean, genuinely. What other team's going to step up? Maybe the Phillies?
The Phillies.
I know the Phillies can have a good series. They did it a bunch last year. So
well, that's my point. Is right now we're seeing the third place team in the NL in terms of record in the Brewers, and I mean we'll see how the Dodgers and Brewers play the next 2 games. But the first one went pretty handedly toward the Dodgers.
I thought that first one kind of looked like how a lot of playoff games will look, where an experienced team like LA is playing a younger team like Milwaukee. I mean, Milwaukee does have some experience, But obviously, like we said, a lot of that's in their bullpen, and they didn't really get there.
Okay, so you're out on the Dodgers catching the Braves.
I don't think they will. I think the Braves are just simply too good at hitting, and that's, I mean, if you're leading in all those offensive stats, we know that team can pitch top to bottom too, so they're kind of perfect.
Fair enough. And then my last question for this little subsection, what are your confidence levels in the Brewers to make some noise in the postseason if they make it?
I can totally see it. Not only do I think that they're going to make it, I still pick them for the Central to win that. So I think they'll be hosting the Wild Card Series at home. They can definitely play an electric Wild Card Series for sure. That would have to be against the Dodgers. Oh, wait, no, it would be against the Dodgers.
No, as of right now, the Dodgers and Braves get the bye.
Okay, right.
They would be playing the Marlins? And then
Yeah,
the Phillies would be playing the Giants.
Okay, so Marlins-Milwaukee would be a very intriguing series.
That would be.
Genuinely, yeah.
I would be glued to that. Honestly,
I think it'd be a very exciting series, and the way Miami's been playing, they've been electric. It'd be kind of tough for the Brew Crew, not gonna lie.
Yeah,
That's a team they're on fire right now.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, could they make some noise? Most definitely, especially because of how good that bullpen and pitching is. But I think if the bats go dead like they did last night, it could be quick for them.
I agree. One more thing before we move on. Last night with that win, Dodgers now on a 9-game win streak. So
Yeah, 9-game win streak for what is a phenomenal roster. I mean, you just got to give credit where it's due.
they also are just separating themselves from the Giants. It's now 9 games.
Yeah, 9 games, dude.
So it looks like the Dodgers are going to win the West again.
A month ago, all of these teams were hanging around the top.
The D-backs and Dodgers were tied like a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
They're 13 behind them now.
So crazy. I mean, that's partially on the Snakes for going cold, but yeah, Dodgers stay hot and handle business.
Yes and no, but because the Dodgers, 9-1 in the division in the last 10, and then everybody else in the NL West is 3-7.
Well, there you go.
The Dodgers have their run, and everyone goes cold, and now it's
I
over.
think this is kind of a thing that happens every year with
Every
the Dodgers. Yeah, the Dodgers go on their crazy 40-10 run, and they call it.
Yep. So, we'll keep an eye on the last 2 games of the series because I think this might be one of the bigger series of the week.
I think this is a series between 2 division winners by the time the season is over. So I think it will be huge.
I think I'm starting to lean toward agreeing with you more
on the Brewers.
I think the Cubs still have a chance. They're 3.5 out, the same as the Reds, but the Brewers, they're playing well. They're still 10 games above. They're keeping pace.
We might as well mention the Cubs because we didn't mention it in the intro, and you did say they're 3.5 back of Milwaukee. Absolutely electric home run by Luis Robert last night to take the win in the first game of the Chicago versus Chicago series,
Yeah.
White Sox-Cubs.
The Windy City Showdown.
So the Cubs did lose the last game as well as Milwaukee on Tuesday.
Yeah.
They both get a loss. So we're going to move it over to Interleague. There was a couple big series, but the bigger one of the two, I thought, was a 3-game set between Miami and Houston. This is a big one. They're 2 wildcard teams right now. Miami's holding the 3rd spot, and obviously Houston's in the top over there.
Yep.
So in the first...
No, they're actually they're in the 2nd spot. The Rays still hold the top by 2.5 games.
Oh, yeah, Rays got it by 2.5 games, but they did just have McClanahan go on with
Yeah,
Tommy John.
I'm not sure how long that's going to last.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on the Rays because they've been having the injury bug real rough, but...
Yeah, pretty brutal injuries for their
As
starters.
of right now, 2.5 game lead on Houston for that 2nd spot. In the first game, Miami takes it pretty handily. 5-1 there. The pitching is really good. Good win for them. Framber goes 7 2/3 in that game. It's pretty wild how the guy just keeps shoving.
Yeah.
6 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned, 4 Ks, and gets the loss.
That's what the Astros love about him so much is that even if he gives up runs, he's going to pitch into like the 7th inning almost every night.
His stuff stays high, and it definitely did. It stayed tight all night.
One of
Miami scored off a birdie double in that game. Then a Soler with his 29th home run of the year.
29.
We were talking about Arise getting his 4th earlier in the week. He gets his 5th home run in this game.
Dude, he's like a freaking home run merchant these days.
Now he is, yeah. Bell gets his 16th home run of the year in that game. Josh Bell been phenomenal for Miami since getting that acquisition.
He's legitimately looked like a completely different person after he took off the Guardians uniform.
Yeah, he is all pop. All pop.
The Guardians uniform, man. I mean, that team is... We talk about them often.
It's wild.
He goes to Miami, and he looks like he's completely rejuvenated.
Yeah, Braxton Garrett, the pitcher for Miami in that game, he goes 5 innings strong, and he gets the win. Gotta love it.
Yeah, good for him.
Second game is a 6-5 Houston win. It was a pretty wild one. Soler hits his 30th home run in the 3rd... Yeah, after hitting his 29th the day before. That's in the 3rd inning to go up. Yainer hits his 16th home run in the 4th for Houston. later on in the game, it's tied 4-4. The game keeps moving on. And Bell reaches by a throwing error by second baseman Mauricio Dubon.
I saw this.
This was really rough. The pitcher backs him up, Christian Javier, and he wings it over to third base hard as he can.
Up the left field line.
Flies over the third baseman's head. Really rough to see. But Houston does bounce back. This was an ugly play, but this is a team that finds ways to win games. They get homers by Chas McCormick and Kyle Tucker in the 6th and 7th, respectively, and they take the game by 1 run.
I was going to say, what inning was it where...
It was the 6th, for the error?
Yeah.
That I'm not sure. Maybe the 5th?
Yeah, it was earlier in the game, so, I mean, at least they had time to bounce back from it. But
Tucker McCormick in the 6th with a homer and Tucker in the 7th, and they end up taking the lead by 1, and the 28th save of the year for Ryan Presley to finish that off.
Yeah, what I was just about to say is... luckily, they had enough time to bounce back from that. That play was ugly.
Yeah, this was a middle innings play, so it definitely wasn't a backbreaker as we see. It could have been, though.
The third game of the series.
She'll be pretty electric.
Huge pitching matchup. Justin Verlander taking on Jesus Luzardo, who's been
nice
a really,
lefty.
really good acquisition from the Athletics.
Yeah. Yeah, these are two good pitchers, so I think that game will probably be pretty low scoring. We'll probably see a 4-3 game or something, and it really could go either way.
Yeah. I'm actually very surprised with how Miami's matched up with Houston.
It's really cool to see. Yeah, this is a team that they bought, and they bought smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is great to see.
Well, because we were saying that the thing about Stanton, how they don't have power, they trade for Bell and Berger, who both bring power.
And they really have since coming to the team.
And it moves their lineup along, and they already had one of the better power hitters in Soler, who has 30 now. I mean, the guy's a former World Series MVP.
Free agent coming up, too. He's probably going to get a bit of a bag.
Well, he's got a player option for $9 million.
He might be worth more than that.
I think he's worth more than that.
Does he bet on himself?
He should. He has a 30-homer season. Mm-hmm. You should test free agency, dude. Someone will pay you.
Miami is up +1 on that last spot, obviously. Right now, they're the last wild card team. Houston's up +2 in that second spot over Toronto, so they're feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on the series?
I mean, it's a really fun series to watch. These are teams who just want it and want it bad. I like watching Miami because they just feel like a lot of these players aren't players who have gotten to the postseason at all.
It feels like the Marlins just play hard every night.
I think that's why. I was going to say, these are guys who haven't gotten to the postseason yet, and they really want to get there and make a statement. Not Soler, obviously. He's been there.
Yeah, he's done some pretty crazy things.
World Series MVP, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. For the Braves in 21.
Right. Yeah, so my thoughts on the series is it's been phenomenal to watch, and I can't wait to watch the third game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued for this third game, too.
Verlander's pitching tonight, as we said. He did just make the comment about the analytics division of the Mets and how the one in the Astros is superior, and that's the one he's pitching for now.
It's kind of hard to disagree with him, though.
Impossible to disagree. I think there's not many that are better than Houston. I think that's kind of where they found a lot of their success.
I don't like how fans get all uptight about stuff like that. Like, dude, he's stating a fact. Scherzer was being an ass.
Oh, yeah. Did you see that Verlander released a statement after? Yeah, so it kind of just seemed like constructive criticism that was taken the wrong way.
By the guy in the analytics department. He was like, why are you questioning
He was offended that he wasn't the better one.
He was probably some nerdy guy that was like, this is my job. Do yours, I'll do mine.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully you actually take Verlander's advice and try to improve the analytics division, because I think he knows a thing or two.
Maybe that's why the season fell apart.
Yeah. To predict Game 3, I think it's going to be a really close game. I bet it's going to be like a 4-3 or 5-3 Houston win tonight.
Yeah. You're giving it to Houston.
I do. I give them the slight edge in the game.
Yeah, they're at home.
And they got the big vet on the mound, obviously.
I'm gonna lean Marlins. I think they've shown enough in this series so far. They won the first game 5-1. They barely lost the second one 6-5.
Put 5 up in both of those games on good Houston pitchers, because that was Framber and Javier. We were talking about earlier in the week how they got basically the three roughest pitchers they could toss possibly.
It was Framber, Javier, and Verlander.
I don't think there's a tougher 3 in Houston, so...
If they take 2 out of 3 there, man, you got to start looking at Miami.
Regardless, their ability to score against those pitchers has been just impressive.
Very nice series so far.
Definitely. Another big 2-game set between AL and NL teams. These are also 2 wildcard teams, Philly in the top spot in the NL and Toronto in the third spot in the AL.
A lot of interleague this past week and a half.
Somehow dotted it that it's all the interleague teams that are really in that wildcard race, too.
Yeah, pretty impressive scheduling.
Yeah, they start a 2-game set in the Rogers Center on that weird carpet turf thing that they play on.
The worst.
Yeah, whatever. They get it. That first game goes 2-1 for Toronto. It's a little W for Jordan Hicks. He K's the side in the 8th.
And why did he get the win instead of the save?
This is what's so disappointing, man.
Mr. Romano was back, though.
This is a playoff game, though, is what I'm saying. Yeah, I was going to touch on that after this. This is a playoff game, basically, the way these two teams are playing. Sir Anthony Dominguez is pitching in the 8th, and the bases are loaded, and he hits Cavan Biggio for the game-winning run. That gets the W for Hicks.
You hate to see things like that.
Hicks pitches the top half there, the next inning, and gets the win. And like you said, the 9th inning goes to the returning Jordan Romano.
And he just shut it down.
Looks phenomenal.
For his 29th of the year, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Which is one more than Ryan Presley.
He missed 2 weeks. I think Jordan Romano has been one of the better closers in baseball.
Very impressive stuff. We haven't talked about it too much. Delivery man of the year in the AL? Who could it be? Oh, wait, never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. It's Felix Bautista.
Yeah.
I don't know why that slipped my mind for a second. What about NL?
NL right now, it could be Hader.
That's pretty up in the air, huh?
Yeah. There's guys. Evan Phillips has been good.
I was going to say. Paul Sewell?
No, I don't think so. Not yet. He's
only David Bednar's got the numbers to do it.
Bednar is going to be up there for sure.
So either way, the second game of this series, which is just going to be huge on Wednesday night, it's going to make it kind of hard to pick which one you want to watch between those Houston and Miami games and this one. Because this is a pitching matchup of Aaron Nola and Kevin Gausman.
Two aces of the teams.
Most definitely. Nola is 9-8 on the year with a 4.49 ERA, and Gausman is 9-6 with a 3.04. So Gausman's obviously looking a little better, but man, it's a pretty good matchup.
Nola's been the ace of that team for so long now. I feel
rough
like
to see him at a 4.5.
Yeah, he hasn't really had a great year, but
even wins loss.
What does he have? 6 or 7 straight opening day starts for them?
Yeah, they are. He is definitely their guy. So that's going to be a big game. How do you see that third one going?
Just looking at Nola's numbers, he just doesn't really. He hasn't been having a great year. Maybe he bounces back tonight, but it's going to be tough to bounce back against a guy like Gausman pitching against the other side. A 3.04 again.
I was going to say my analysis of this game, this second game of the series here, is that I think Nola will look good. I could see him going 5 pretty decent innings, giving up 3 or something, but Gausman will just be better. And will end up getting the win for his team.
Honestly, one of the most underrated free agent signings in the last couple of years was Kevin Gausman for the Blue Jays.
Definitely went under the radar at the time.
He's been really good coming over from the Giants.
Yeah, so after that first game, which was a disappointing loss for Philly, I thought they could have done it at the end there. That puts Philly up 2.5 games on the last spot, or on the top spot, over the Giants.
They're only a game above the Giants, and then they have 2.5 on the Marlins.
Right, yeah, that's right.
Or they have 2.5 on the Cubs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Toronto is 2.5 up on Seattle for the last spot, which we will talk more about Seattle. They had a series against the Royals this week. Just kind of wanted your thoughts on these two teams. They're two of my favorite right now.
I think the Phillies they've earned my respect this year.
They've been really, both of these teams have been really fun to watch.
Yeah, I think both of these teams are going to sneak into the wild card. I think because, the Phillies can't win the division. It's just not happening.
I feel like with the Phillies, it's hard to even call it sneaking. They're just better than the teams below them.
It's unfortunate that both of these two teams, their division leaders, are the best in their league.
Yeah, definitely.
So, the Phillies ain't catching the Braves because they're the best in the NL, and the Blue Jays probably are not catching the Orioles because they're the best in the AL.
Yeah, I could see the Blue Jays passing the Rays now because the Rays are really dealing with it. They lose their ace for, is it even next year as well?
Yeah, Shane McClanahan goes down. Originally, they're telling them it's forearm strain and this, that, the other. It ends up being he needs Tommy John surgery.
Just keeps escalating for Tampa there.
In mid-August, so that means he is not going to pitch next year as well.
Yeah, that's a team that's, in the last couple of years, just seen 8 guys need Tommy John surgery.
7 or 8 starting pitchers, and then one of them was Nick Anderson didn't opt to do it.
The most brutal part of the game for sure, but could definitely see Toronto passing the Rays and getting that second wild card spot.
I could also see that. The Rays have not been playing well, and it's probably not much to their fault. They're falling apart.
Really hard to say it's their fault, but
sometimes you can't overcome injuries if it's too many injuries.
I could totally see Houston and Toronto passing them because they're just not dealing with injuries to the same extent.
I agree 100%.
Is Bo Bichette back yet?
I don't think he's back yet, but he's nearing a return.
Yeah, so I mean that's going to be a huge one back for them, and they've already been playing good ball.
Definitely. I mean, I won't completely shut them out. They're only 7.5 out of the division, but it's going to be tough.
Should be a really fun second game of the series here as Toronto goes for the sweep.
All right, so since we just wrapped up Interleague and we've done NL, we're going to jump over to one specific American League series that I had my eyes on, especially with how it's been being played.
Yeah.
The first two of them. The Mariners look to stay hot against a Royals team who usually isn't much to talk about, but these last two games, man, they've made us have to talk about them.
They've kind of been fun for about a week.
Yeah. The first game of the series, it was an absolute wild one. The Royals jump up 3-0 in the first. Sal has his 19th homer of the year. Jump all the way to the bottom of the fifth. Bobby Witt Jr. hits an inside-the-park home run.
Yeah, this puts him up 4-0, and God, did you see how fast he ran, man? I saw a tweet about it. He went home to home in 14.3 seconds flat.
That's unbelievable.
That is the fastest time in the MLB since 2017. Last time someone ran home to home faster, I was a junior in high school.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I really hope for the Royals' sake they don't mess up building around that kid. And they don't give him up.
Dude. We were talking about him maybe a week or two ago now. He's the first player ever to have his first two seasons with 30 stolen bases and 20 homers.
Yep.
God, no, don't get rid of him.
Yeah, he's up to 22 home runs now with that inside the Parker. So like we said, they're up 4-0 now, the Royals.
Mm-hmm.
The Mariners make no noise until the 8th inning. They put up fourth. They end up taking the lead 6-5 in the top of the ninth.
Wow, just an electric end of the game, man.
And then Sal ties it up with a sac fly. And the Royals end up winning on a bunt single from Dairon Blanco.
Oh, God, I mean, it's just kind of a weird way to end the game, but it is baseball, and it's a smart play. You could tell it's a smart play. Sal, by the way, getting that homer you mentioned earlier and getting the sac fly, does it all with the C on his chest.
Oh, yeah. Captain Sal.
I love seeing a C on the chest. I wish the Yankees did it for Judge, and I wish a lot of teams did it.
The Mariners hit a ton of homers in this game. They got a homer from... actually, I'm looking at the wrong game. Sorry.
Oh, all right. Which game were you looking at?
I was looking at the second game of the series. The first game of the series is the one that we're on right now, and they got home runs they didn't have a home run. They got a double from Julio in the 8th, his 27th, which scored Mike Ford, Dylan Moore, and Josh Rojas.
Yeah, this was part of their comeback.
So 3-run double for Julio. Suarez gets the 4th run with his single. 9th inning, Rojas is the one that singles to tie the game for the Mariners.
Suarez is having a big series.
And then Julio gives them the lead with the 6th. Like I said, Sal ties it with a sac fly, and then the bunt single from Dairon Blanco to win it.
Yeah, which a lot of fans they'll laugh at a bit, but it's a phenomenal baseball play.
Yeah, the second game of the series, that's what I was just referencing. The Mariners just come out swinging.
Yeah, this is a team that looked angry they just lost by a bunt single.
They don't score for the first 3 innings, but the 4th inning, Suarez homers for his 17th. France homers for his 10th. Teoscar Hernandez homers for his 18th, driving in a pair. So they're up 4-0 now. Josh Rojas hits his first homer for the Mariners. It's a 2-run homer. They're up 7-0 now. That was a 2-run or 3. It's 2-run homer, but
all power though, man.
At that point where he hits that home run, they're up 7-0.
Yeah, but this game was another wild one though, because Kansas City bounces back with 5 in the bottom of the 5th.
Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah, who does it? Who else but Bobby Witt Jr. for his 23rd homer of the year? He hits a grand slam. This kid is an absolute stud. Don't be shocked if he's winning an MVP.
No need to run for that one.
In the future, this kid's going to be an MVP candidate.
You're talking about his sprint speed. He can trot on that one.
Most definitely.
Touch them all for a grand slam after having an inside the Parker the day before.
If he wanted to run, he'd be passing all his teammates easily.
Very true. Teoscar Hernandez goes into the what was it? The bottom of that's the top of the 7th. He hits a double. 21st of the year, scores Suarez.
Yeah, this game got really interesting in the 9th. It was 8-5 then.
Yeah, 8. So cut to 8-5 in the bottom of the 9th. The Royals get massive hits from Michael Massey, no pun intended, I guess, and Captain Sal again.
Who else but Captain Sal with the big C on the chest, man? I'm telling you, and it might be a real thing that really hypes a guy up for a season. Because this is an aging Sal Perez, not to say that his numbers have never really faded.
He makes it 8-8 with that.
The guy is just a machine at the plate, and he's always been a phenomenal game manager.
Unfortunately for the Royals, their pitching does not hold on to it. They go to the top of the 10th. Ty France singles in a couple. And that's basically all she wrote.
Yeah, it's rough to see. Both of these games, though, the Royals really play competitive ball. Beginning to end with a borderline wild card team 2.5 games out.
Their offense has really woken up the past 2 days.
Yeah, they've really been fun to watch, which isn't something I thought I'd say too much about the Royals this year, but I definitely have been lately.
Yeah. This sets up a huge rubber match. Game 3 today.
Yeah, finishing it off.
It'll be Luis Castillo, Mariners ace. Since they got him, we were just talking about how great he's been.
Most definitely, another one of those great acquisitions, kind of like Gausman.
Yeah, they'll look to him for another quality start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a Royals team that's feeling pretty good after winning that first one and playing their brand of baseball, and then in the second one, slugging it out and almost getting it.
They will be sending James McArthur to the mound.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like he's been a starter much. He's got a 1350. He's only thrown 6 innings this year, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
6 innings in 5 games, definitely not a starter.
I did also want to make one more note of that second game of the series in the extra innings. Taylor Saucedo shuts it down for the Mariners in the bottom of the 10th, and that's also his first career save.
Shout out Taylor Saucedo.
First of the year.
Yeah, very big. When we got an ace versus an opener game, and it's a playoff team or a borderline playoff team versus a last place team, I mean, it's kind of hard to call this game anyway, but just a pretty handy Mariners win here.
I think they really need to take care of business today.
I would say so too, yeah.
After the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the Mariners are they're still pushing, but that's a little bit of a misstep.
No, I think the way that the Mariners get in now, and they do have a path, their path goes through the Rays.
You think?
I think because the Rays now struggling with their injuries. If they're dealing with a pretty tough one. They lost 7-0 last night to San Francisco.
Yeah.
So I mean, they won 10-3 the one before that though. So they split the first two. Tampa's still got one.
Yeah, it really is going to depend on if the Rays offense just outslugs.
If the Rays kind of sputter out because of their lack of pitching, it's kind of the only way I could see Seattle getting in. Besides that, these playoff teams look to be the playoff teams.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
I said they're 2.5 out. They're actually 2 out. So
it must have been 2.5 before they finished that crazy late night game.
Really close though.
Yeah. We'll keep our eye on that one.
Definitely keep an eye on it. I'm giving the series edge to the Mariners tonight because this is their guy on the mound against an opener.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean that way as well.
Thank you so much, everybody, for watching and listening wherever you have found us. Where can you find us? You can find us on Spotify at 9 Frames, YouTube at 9 Frames Podcast, and you can find us on X at 9 Frames Pod. You can find us on PlayerGM.com as well, new partners there. And please find us anywhere. This was episode 11 of the 9 Frames Podcast, and it is Wednesday, August 16th. I'm one half of your host, Bill Whalen.
And I'm Mike Whalen.
Please like and subscribe, folks.
Yes. We appreciate any likes and subscriptions. The more, the better. Anything helps.
Yeah, give us a follow on X, please, as well.